Notice is the name of the game on the main card of UFC 294, and in on 2 weeks' notice is the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 3 middleweight winner. We're talking about Warlley Alves. He's going to be replacing Nasruddin Imavov to take on Ikram Aliskerov. This guy's like the uncrowned champ at middleweight right now. Aliskerov, he is the hotness right now, like he's Hansel. But overall,
how were you excited for the Imavov fight? Do you think we were going to learn a lot about him as a contender for that? Because I know I was really looking forward to that matchup.
Was I excited for the Imavov fight? I think a lot of people are disappointed that's not happening. Was I fucking excited for the Paulo Costa fight that was supposed to happen?
That's another great one,
Ikram Aliskerov has one UFC win. It's over No Hype Phil Hawes. He knocked him out in under 3 minutes in his UFC debut. He also got a knockout win over on Dana White's Contender Series. Ikram Aliskerov all of a sudden has a number next to his name. Off of one win, he's in the top 15, and they book him with Paulo Costa, and then the fight falls out. So I was surprised to see that, but people, they like Ikram Aliskerov. And if you flip the script and look at a guy like Ikram Aliskerov, and again, only has that one loss. 4-time World Combat Sambo champion, 2014, 15, 16, and 17. Parlays that forward into such an interesting MMA career because the level of competition's kind of all over the place with Brave. He goes over to Eagle FC. Remember that time they had that fight in Florida that one time?
I did.
Kevin Lee fought Diego Sanchez. Ikram Aliskerov fought UFC vet Nashawn Burrell. And he was like glue on him, and that was pretty much the whole fight. You didn't get to see any of Ikram striking, which you did see over with Brave, and he had a very extensive record over with Brave. So again, like glue on Burrell. And then his last time out, he goes over on Dana White's Contender Series, and I mean, he was taking on Mario Souza, noted kickboxer, not grappler, and in that one he was able to mix things up. He did get tagged a little bit as the fight started, but Aliskerov was able to take over and get the finish win, and it was a surprise that Aliskerov even had to fight on Contender Series, knowing how good he was. So all of a sudden, you fight on Contender Series, you prove it, now you get a guy who has a winning UFC record and has only lost to top 15 contenders.
It's a really wild position for Ikram to find himself in.
But if you look at it for a guy like Ikram Aliskerov, again, against Souza, he did look really good. I go back to a few of the fights that he had with Brave before he came over. The fight against Miro Djurkovic, if you look at that one, Djurkovic had fought 2 weeks prior and looked a little slow out of the gate, and Aliskerov was able to push the pace. He goes out there and lands a heavy, steady diet of jabs. He'll then work in his right hand, and he really likes that left head kick from the lead leg. So look out for those when you watch a guy like Aliskerov. You know how good the takedowns can be. He has really good top pressure. But I go through the fight that he had against Gonzalez. Okay, so Gonzalez had fought Dan Hardy in 2006, and he beat him, He beat him by submission, but it was overturned due to punches to the back of the head. So then he goes out there and he fights Hardy again, he loses. So now all of a sudden, that fight was at 170. Years later, he's in his mid-30s and he's fighting at middleweight. And he was a little chunky around the middle. But in that one, Aliskerov was able to really land on him. And Gonzalez is able to do some work on the outside. Gonzalez shoots for a takedown. Aliskerov meets him with the knee, and it's like shin on head. Gets him down after that, gets on top, pounds away, ground and pound finish. The face never looked the same for Gonzalez. So a big win there for Aliskerov. But you go down and you look at it for the fighter representing formerly Brave, I guess. Weigh-ins have been an issue in the past. So first up in 2018, he took on Joey Birkenbosch, and he weighed 189.4 pounds for 185. When he took on Nashawn Burrell, he weighed in at 186.2, so he couldn't cut that extra 0.2 pounds, so that's a little tough. He has made it down at less than 185 pounds. He fought Chimaev at a catch weight of 180, and he weighed 175.8 for that one. So I'll be interested to see how Aliskerov makes out with these weigh-ins as the UFC career progresses, and especially for this one. The Sambo, oh my. The weigh-ins, they make you worry a little bit, but with Aliskerov, now he gets to take on Warlley Alves, a guy who's 2-3 in his last 5 fights. And the biggest thing for Alves is, not just is this his first fight since he won the Ultimate Fighter at middleweight, to be at 185. This is the first middleweight fight since, 2014. So it's been a long time for Warlley Alves there. But with Warlley Alves is, what version am I going to get? It's always, what version am I going to get? Because his last time out against Nicholas Dalby, I took Alves to win. He lost the split decision to Dalby. But if we get the guy that fought against Munir Lazzez, if you get the guy that fought against Sergio Moraes, if you get the guy that fought Colby Covington, this guy can come out like a bat out of hell. But if you get the guy that fought Randy Brown or Jeremiah Wells, the guy that he comes out aggressive, but he kind of peters off as it goes on, or if you see the glaze as he's making his way to the octagon, it's just really hard to know what version of Alves you're going to get.
And I think he's going to give up some size at 185, to be honest with you, because we saw him be the smaller fighter in quite a few fights at 170, and I know Randy Brown's the long-rangey guy, but still, Alves, you didn't look at him and think, wow, that was the biggest welterweight I've ever seen in my life, so I'll be a little curious to see if he is going to stay at 185, if this might just be a one-off, hey, try to spring the big upset and we'll see what happens.
And 2 weeks notice, right?
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. Just for Alves, he wasn't big at 170, so I'm going to be really curious to see how he fights at 185. Because I know at 5'11", he's not a short guy, but again, he just wasn't the biggest guy at 170, so I'm really curious to see these two face off. My other question is, can Alves just stand up to the shots of Aliskerov? And I know at 185 the chin should be a little bit better, right? But at 170, we saw him get hit by some clean shots that, would they ultimately knock him out? Maybe not, but they'd put him on skates, they'd hurt him, he'd get rocked in quite a few occasions. So I just worry about his durability, especially at 185, fighting such a big puncher at this division.
You see the sambo of a guy like Ikram Aliskerov, the takedowns are really good. You might want to liken him a little bit to light heavyweights. Matt, who's my guy? The professional. A big-time fighter. A guy out of that lefty switch stance that's able to go out there and do it.
Murzakanov?
Azamat Murzakanov. That's who I think of when I think of Aliskerov. A lot of big-time shots down the middle. He puts his power and his volume together really well when he needs to. And again, that one loss is to Khamzat Chimaev. So you get a little bit of that out there. Both guys competing on the main card here.
In the future.
For Warlley Alves, too, coming in a refit pro fighter, so a little bit adjacent to Pedro Hizzo, the leg kick king, the OG. But Warlley Alves, when he comes in there with that Muay Thai, he could really disrupt things if he's able to work it to the body a little bit, work those kicks. And you saw it out of Alves. Again, I know it's a split decision loss his last time out there against Nicholas Dalby. I thought that Dalby won the first round, won the second round, and Alves won the third round. But if he's there, and if he's really into the fight, he can carry it as it goes on. So
he's like Dwight Howard on defense. If he's engaged, he's one of the best, right? But sometimes the mind wanders.
Do you think Warlley Alves likes snakes like Dwight Howard does? Big snake guy in more ways than one.
About, but let's continue.
But Matt, Ikram Aliskerov, big favorite in this fight. We have a look at, listen.
He played for the Hornets at one point. We'll leave it at that.
He did. No, but nobody remembers it. But Matt, we look at the topology votes.
Here's the thing. I agree with your points about how Warlley can have success, but do you think he's going to have enough power at this weight class to keep Ikram off of him? Because I think that's going to be a really big point. Because if Ikram doesn't respect the power coming back his way, in theory, he should be able to collapse the range and just land his own power shots.
Jalen Turner's got tarantulas. Dwight Howard's got snakes. But Matt, when we have a look at the topology votes, surprised us there to you. I'm going to say over under 90% Aliskerov.
I think they'll be over.
And they are over. 1,151 total votes. 97% Aliskerov. 64% by knockout for the 3% that have Alves. 51% by knockout. And I think it's fair to say if Alves is going to win, it's going to be by knockout if he gets the win. I mean,
land a big shot.
This guy, big time shots. When he's in, he's in. And clearly he's in. You've taken this fight on 2 weeks' notice on the main card of a pay-per-view. He's not going to roll over. But for me, I do like Aliskerov, and I think his full complement of a skill set can get it done here.
The only shame is that we haven't got those two previous matchups for Ikram, because those would have been great fights. They would have shown us so much more about him, too, right? If you beat Warlley Alves, like, let's be honest, you're probably going to do that. What do we learn about you as a contender? But if you're able to go out there and beat a guy like Naimov, who for all of his faults is still a pretty darn good fighter the last time I checked, it would just tell us so much more about you as a contender in this division. And 185 is as wide open as we have ever seen right now. You have a brand new champion in Sean Strickland. Israel Adesanya recently said, I'm going to take a little bit of time away before I take my next fight. So it is anybody's fight up there at the top. And I think this is a great step for, well, both guys if Warlley's able to get the win. But I have Aliskerov.
Both of us going with Ikram Aliskerov to get the win. Some big time fights in this card. The next one, Ankalaev's taking on Johnny Walker. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.